God is so good. So it says we're to be praying at every opportunity. And we're to be alert. This is something that we're conscious of. Verse 19, we get a personal glimpse into Paul's life. I love these personal glimpses. There's a ton of them in the Corinthians, you know. And I think it's worth noting that when he writes to the Corinthians, one of the things that Paul notes, one of the slanders they made against Paul, he said, because he writes to them the second time, and he said, well, actually, 2 Corinthians would technically be at least the third time he's written. But anyway, he writes to them, and he says, I know what you say. You say that I'm weak in person, but that my letters are very strong. So the Corinthian people felt like Paul's preaching was weak sauce. They did not appreciate it. They didn't think it was very powerful. They said, you're really tough in your letters, but you're not very tough when you show up. And in the warning he gives them, he says, just know that when I come, I'm coming in my full apostolic authority. I'm coming, and it's not going to be great when I get there. Because he loved them. He cared about them. So that was an accusation they made about him. I think it's also noteworthy, before we read verse 19, that when Paul goes to Corinth, he tells us that Jesus appears to him personally when he gets to Corinth. And what does Jesus say to him? Don't be afraid. Don't be scared, Paul. I have a lot of people in this area. You don't have to be scared. So in verse 19, we get a kind of an expansion of this. He says, pray also for me, that whenever I speak, words may be given me, so I will fearlessly make known the mystery of the gospel. What? Why is Paul asking us, or them really, to pray for him he wouldn't be afraid? Why does Jesus show up and tell Paul, don't be afraid? Is it poetic justice? Is the Holy Spirit needed something, some content for the book of Acts? Like what? No. Paul clearly had a lot of fear. We don't think of him that way, do we? Like we read Mars Hill and he's like, behold, I'm going to tell you of the God you do not know. And like he's arguing with them. And we just think like, it's Paul. What's Paul? He's a genius. Galileo said he was a genius, that he voraciously read everything he ever gave him. I mean, like, it's just Paul. We don't need to pray for Paul. Paul doesn't have fear. It's Paul. No, like every turn in his personal notes, he's saying, I'm scared. I'm afraid. And then he says, will you pray for me that I'll have the words? Like, do I really need to pray for Paul that he'd have the words? Wouldn't Paul just have the words? He wrote the word. Right? Like, why do I need to pray for the guy who wrote the vast majority of the New Testament, not necessarily content, but times? Why would I need to pray that he'd have the word? Because he's a human. And he was weak. And he had fear. And he had the guts to write for all time, will you please pray for me? It was more important for him to have the words and to speak fearlessly than it was to hide it so that everyone else would think he did not have fear. It's awesome. So many times we can think like, well, I can't be a Paul. Well, you're right, or you would have been. But you can be you. And you might think, I don't even know what I am. I don't know what I can do. I'm too fearful. That's okay, you can pray. You can ask other people to pray. It's perfectly legitimate to say, I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm scared of my next family reunion. They're going to think I'm a freak. I'm scared of my, going to my job. I'm scared of this thing in my life. I'm scared of this. I'm scared of that. I'm scared of death. I'm scared of earthquakes. I'm scared of whatever. I'm scared. I'm fearful. Pray for me. I think it's great to see Paul's heart like this. Just to be exposed. Will you pray for me? I'm scared. It really brings him the humanity about it. I mean, this guy who talks about, I spent, 3 days in the ocean, or I guess the sea. 3 days in the sea. I've been robbed. I've gone so many times without eating. I'm scared. Will you please pray for me? He goes on again, and he reiterates it, pray that I may declare it fearlessly, twice, in one verse, in 2 verses, fearlessly. Verse 21, Tychicus, the dear brother and faithful servant of the Lord, will tell you everything, so that you also may know how I am and what I am doing. I love this guy, Tychicus. He's only mentioned a couple times. And the term dear brother. It's that Greek word adolphos that also gets translated brothers and sisters. And it really just means, it can mean brother or family member is what it means. And so dear is actually the root word of dear is agape, where, it talks about God's love, God's moral love, agape. And so it could be translated, and some of your English might bear this out, the English translations, beloved brother. He's the beloved brother. Tychicus, the beloved brother. I hope for myself, there's a lot of things that someone might say about us when we die. But as an opinion that you can throw away, I'm not sure there's anything better than beloved brother or beloved sister. I'm really not. I don't think we need statues and fancy epitaphs. But just to be able to go to the grave, just to be able to go to Jesus, and that people would say of us at our memorials, that person was a dear sister. That person was a dear brother. It just speaks volumes, doesn't it? They were kind. They were good. It's not a competition by any means, but there was a lady that we always used to joke that she came with the church. Came with the building. Queen Bee, they called her. Neat lady. And when we did a memorial, it was standing room only. She was widowed when she was 40. She lived to be 90-something years, 97 or something years old. It was packed in here. Didn't have a lot of money. She wasn't translating the Bible. I don't know. Insert random great thing here. None of that. Most packed memorial I've ever been to. And you know what every single person said? She loved me. She came to my house and gave me cookies. She loved me. A beloved sister in the Lord. And I think if we want to be effective as a body of believers, if we want to be effective as individuals, we need to be dear brothers and sisters. There's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of, people can go. We live in a day and age where we can go get the best Bible teaching in the world on our phones. Way better than anything you're ever going to find on the peninsula. With ease. But you know what you can't get on your phone? Love. You can't be loved over the phone. I mean, you could talk to someone. But that you and I, when we walk in these doors, would make it our goal. I'm going to love people today. I'm going to be kind to them today. I'm going to listen to them today. And that God would build His church on that. So I think it's a great title. The dear brother. And he's the faithful servant of the Lord. There's another challenge. The word there is diakonos, where we get our word deacon from. It's the same word that's used with Phoebe in the book of Romans, the letter to the Romans. The diakonos, the servant. It's a challenging thing. Am I, the servant of the Lord? Or is it all about the Lord serving me? Do I go and serve His people, or is it about His people serving me? Am I the servant or the served? And it's both. In a healthy church, right? In a healthy fellowship, it's both. But it may be said that we died the servant of the Lord, or that we got raptured, the servant of the Lord. He says, I'm sending you to Him so He'll be an encouragement. There's just a ton of practicality here. Would anyone ever send you or me to be encouragements? Could you or I be sent as an encouragement? Or will we show up and be like, well, Big Pharma sucks. The government sucks. My car sucks. Insurance rate sucks. The economy sucks. Are you encouraged yet? No, our words matter. This guy, Paul knew, he's like, I can send this guy to these people, and they're going to be better off with him there. They're going to be encouraged. Literally, they're going to take courage. They will be emboldened to walk with God, to have joy, to have peace. It's a challenge. Can someone trust you and I to do the same? Or would the reality be if we got sent somewhere, we'd show up and be like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, you're doing a good job, I guess. It's a challenging word. Are we encouraging? Or are we just complaining and whining about everything? Because he could have sent them. Imagine if they complain. Tychicus shows up. Yeah, I just ran from Nero. He tried to burn me alive. Paul's in prison. Yeah, they got him chained up. He's chained to a guard. It's kind of weird. Yeah, I didn't really get to eat much because nobody has any money. I walked here because I don't own a donkey. It's hot. Right? We're like, it's me anyway. I like walk out of my door when it's 70 and I'm like, why, God? Would you know? It's like $1.20 and they're walking for, 100 miles. Would he show up and be like, yeah, Paul sent me in this heat? Can you believe that fool? Yeah, anyway, he thinks about you. What are we like? Or do we just show up and go, yeah, and they go, oh, dude, you walked all this way. And you're like, yeah, it was crazy, but God was good. I made it. Had to die. I mean, in Tychicus' day, they literally had checkpoints. The Roman government had checkpoints because Nero instituted Caesar worship. And it would be Emperor Titus and Domitian. They would continue it for hundreds of years. And so you as a Christian are walking down a road and you come to a checkpoint with Roman guards. And they say, have you offered incense to Caesar? Have you acknowledged that he's God? And you have to say yes or no. And they have copies of them. You can see them. Copies of cards that they gave people that showed, yes, you offered incense to Caesar. And so you could come to one of these checkpoints and they would say, do you have your card? And if you couldn't pull the card out, you had two options. You got chucked to the lions or you worship Caesar as God. Those were your options. There were Roman guards that would take bribes and they would say, hey, I'll give you a card for some money. But now you're a Christian bribing a Roman guard so you can hide from your Christianity. And hey, no shade on people that did that. That's between them and Jesus. I got no condemnation for that. So it's funny that you and I, we like drive to church and we're like, the traffic. Right? They're going like 23 and a 25. What is happening? The persecution I endure for you, Jesus. It's like... And my latte was cold. It's ridiculous. We're going to suffer. And it's good. It's good.